Now, most of this meditation stuff that we are actually doing is keeping us stuck, not setting us free. And let's go to the computer because I have wasted about 8 years going deeper into this trap before I finally found a way out. Then I know what you're thinking, and I know how that sounds, but you got to hear me out because for years I was that meditation obsessed person where I had a perfect little Zen corner with my perfect meditation chair. And I was so into this stuff that my friends would literally complain when I started talking about expanding my consciousness or expanding consciousness over pizza. Okay. And I was that guy. I was that guy at dinner parties and I would make everyone uncomfortable with my spiritual superiority. Like, oh, you're stressed about your mortgage? Well, have you tried connecting to the quantum field? You know what? Your energy centers are probably blocked. Yeah, I was that guy. You don't want to be that guy. Let's just say that, okay? But the thing nobody talks about is despite all of this spiritual progress, despite all of this spiritual progress, I was still basically the same old Kevin, just with better breathing techniques and some fancy words to describe my problems. I was still trying to fix myself, still stuck in my own head, still trying to approach life from the same limited perspective. I had done every course and been to multiple retreats. I had a meditation streak, longer than some people's relationships. Let's just say that. Yet, I was still checking my emails looking for that miraculous opportunity. I was still getting triggered by the same stuff, still feeling like I was on the outside looking into this abundant life that I was supposed to be manifesting, okay? And it felt like I was decorating the same room over and over, but never actually leaving the house, okay? New furniture, same prison, better curtains, same view, but it's still a prison. However, last year, I was at the 10-day week-long Cancun retreat. Amazing place, beautiful place, 2,000 people, incredible energy. Like, that is an energy that I will never forget. And I'm going this year again. If you're going, come say hi. So I'm doing everything right, meditating for hours, doing a breath, journaling, and I was doing everything, right? However, day 3, I'm sitting in the ballroom surrounded by all of these beautiful people having mystical experiences. And I'm just there. I'm observing what's happening in the room, waiting for my breakthrough. And then suddenly, like this picture, like the universe just slapped me in the face. And I understood that I was trying to be a better version of Kevin, instead of seeing that I'm so much more than Kevin to begin with. So basically, I was trying to polish my cage instead of realizing there isn't a cage at all. I was trying to improve my personality instead of recognizing that I am the awareness in which personality appears. And let me tell you, in that moment, something clicked. And I can only describe it as remembering something that I had forgotten. And it wasn't through some complicated technique or secret method. No, it was this simple, huge realization that I'm not just this limited person named Kevin trying to connect to something bigger. No, I'm already that bigger something experiencing life as Kevin. I am already that bigger something experiencing life as Kevin, like this picture. And so in that simple shift in how I saw myself, it changed everything. Not gradually, not over months, but immediately. Okay. Like switching from black and white TV to suddenly seeing things in a 4K television or 4K color. So when I got home, I started developing what I now call the identity frequency mapping. Well, it's basically a way to reconnect with your infinite self that exists beyond the day-to-day struggles and limitations. Not through complicated visualization or years of practice, but through simple activations that help you to remember who you really are beneath all the stories, the interference that we tell ourselves. And let me tell you, for the first time I tried this process myself, something happened that still gives me goosebumps. I was in my house in meditation, and there was this moment where I felt the boundaries of Kevin. This is what it looked like and felt like in this picture. That's the best way I can describe it. The boundaries of Kevin just started to dissolve. Okay? Dissolve, not in some weird abstract way, but in a real physical way that I could actually feel it. It was like taking off a jacket that I didn't realize I was wearing. Suddenly, there was all this space, all this room to breathe. In that open, boundless state, creating what I wanted wasn't something I had to force or figure out. It just happened naturally when I remembered my true nature. And I remember about 3 weeks later, I was just sitting in my kitchen, drinking coffee, not even meditating, just being, when suddenly I dropped into this expanded state again. No effort, no trying, no technique. It just happened. And in that moment, a solution to my business problem that I had been struggling for months just appeared, fully formed. It just came into me like downloaded. Not because I was trying to figure it out or anything like that. Not because I was visualizing or affirming, but because from this biggest perspective, it wasn't even really a problem to begin with. It was kind of like zooming out of Google Maps. What looked like a huge obstacle from street view was just a tiny bump from the satellite view. And so as I refined this process and started sharing it with my clients, I noticed something incredible. People who had been meditating for years, who had done the courses, been to retreats, breath work, they were experiencing, okay? They were experiencing bigger shifts in an hour of identity frequency mapping than years of practice. Not because it's more complicated, but because it's actually simpler. It is about remembering rather than becoming. It's about recognizing what's already true rather than trying to create something new. And so, what I've come to understand is that most manifestation approaches still have us operating from our limited self, trying to improve, or I should not have done that. Anyway, improve from our limited self, trying to improve or expand that self rather than recognizing that we are already so much more. We are still trying to approach life from our smaller perspective rather than our big one. How amazing is that? And it's about remembering. It's like trying to, what it's like is trying to improve the reflection on a mirror. So it's like trying to improve your reflection in the mirror instead of changing what's standing in front of it, aka us. So you could polish that mirror all day, but until you shift who's looking into it, nothing really changes. All right? Now listen carefully. This is what nobody told you about manifestation. It's not about becoming someone better or creating something new, but it's about raising your vibration or frequency or aligning your, it's not even about raising your vibration or aligning your energy centers or chakras, that type of stuff, okay? Listen to this. Manifestation is about remembering who you truly are beyond all your stories and letting that bigger self express through you. How cool is that? And so when you operate from that place of manifestation, manifestation isn't something you do, it's just what happens naturally. It's like breathing, like your heart beating. It's no effort, it's just expression, okay? And I wonder if any of this clicks with you. Have you ever felt like despite all your meditation and spiritual work, you're still basically approaching life as the same person? Have you noticed how manifestation still feels like work rather than your natural state? So what if you're not broken? Okay, listen to this. What if you're not broken? You're not broken, okay? And you don't need fixing. What if you're not broken and you don't need fixing? What if you just temporarily forgot? What if you just temporarily forgot how powerful you actually are? Man, what if you just temporarily forgot how powerful you actually are? Because I want to break down exactly what identity frequency mapping is and why traditional techniques are keeping us trapped in what I call the personality box. And I'm going to share with you the 3 steps to reconnect with your infinite nature, and I'll show you how to integrate a system that prevents you from forgetting who you are when you return to daily life. And let me tell you, and when you operate from that place, manifestation doesn't just become something you do, but it's what happens naturally. Like breathing, like your heart beating. It's no effort, it's expression. Now, I wonder if any of this is clicking to you, okay? I wonder if any of this is clicking because have you ever felt like despite all your meditation and spiritual work, you're basically still approaching life as the same person? And have you noticed how manifestation still feels like work rather than your natural state? Now listen to this and really pay close attention, hardwire this in. What if you are not broken? What if you're not broken? Okay? What if you're not broken and you don't need fixing? What if you just temporarily forgot how powerful you actually are? Because I want to break down exactly what identity frequency mapping is and why traditional techniques keep us trapped in what I call the box of our personality. Okay? And there are 3 steps to reconnect with your infinite nature, and I'm going to show you how to integrate this system that prevents you from forgetting when you return to daily life. Because let me tell you, I'm going to give you full permission to get completely unreasonable about who you think you are. All right? This is going to be a game changer. Because when you stop trying to manifest as your limited self and start operating from your infinite nature, everything changes. And I mean everything. Everything. And so before we dive in, you need to understand the fundamental premise that changes everything, okay? The energy you embody is the reality you experience. Wow. The energy you embody is the reality you experience. Not the energy you think about, not the energy you visualize, but the energy you actually embody moment to moment. And so if your nervous system is stuck in survival mode, right? And most of us are walking around in chronic survival without even realizing it. Well, your brain is literally designed to focus. When you're in survival mode, your brain is designed to focus on problems, okay? It's not your fault. It's just basically neurobiology. So it's focused on problems, threats, and what's wrong. Now, Dr. Joe talks about this all the time. You can't create a new future while living in the emotions of the past. But here's what most people don't understand. We got identity programmed from the moment we are born, okay? We were programmed with an identity the moment we were born. So, childhood downloads, family patterns, societal scripts, cultural conditioning, even spiritual labels. We built what I call a box of personality, or personality box. So what that means is we have a personality box around ourselves, and we spend our entire lives trying to manifest from inside that box. And it's like trying to get to a bigger view by rearranging the furniture in a windowless room, okay? Think about parallel realities and infinite timelines existing simultaneously now, meaning every possible version of your life is happening. Your identity, not your personality, but your core sense of who you are, is the vehicle you use to land on the timeline that you want. Now, if you're trying to drive a Ferrari, or you're trying to get to that Ferrari timeline with a bicycle identity, sorry, you're going to keep getting bicycle results. So the vehicle has to match the destination. And so, I'm giving you today what I call delusional permission to get completely unreasonable about your limitations, okay? Stop. This is supposed to be a stop. You know what I'm talking about? It's like a stop sign. Stop trying to negotiate with your old self. Stop negotiating with your old self and stop trying to be realistic about what's possible. But thank your personality for keeping you safe, and now let it go. Because let me tell you, what I'm about to share with you isn't another technique to add to your spiritual toolkit, but it's basically a shift from trying to become someone else to remembering who you've always been. Okay, now let's get into it. Step 1. Now, right, please write this down because this is so important. So, step 1 is let go of the old story. Okay, let go of the old story. And I'm going to share 3 massive mistakes that kept me trapped in this personality box for a year. Okay, mistake number 1. Sorry about my handwriting. Mistake number 1 is meditating in survival mode. For the first 3 years of my life, or in my practice, I was literally meditating in survival mode, and I didn't even know it. Because I would sit down to try to manifest something, and I'll try to manifest like abundance or something, while my nervous system was in full panic about my $157,000 of debt. Okay? Now, so I was meditating in survival mode. Picture this. I'm in my little meditation corner, eyes are closed, trying to visualize abundance or money flowing to my bank account, while my shoulders are literally up to my ears. My jaw is clenched, and I'm breathing really shallow. And so, I was basically strengthening my anxiety, okay? I was strengthening my anxiety, all right? And thinking I was getting enlightened. It was like going to the gym and working out on my problems. I was getting jacked problems, okay? I was putting steroids on my problems. This is what survival mode looks like in meditation, okay? If your meditation phase looks like you're trying to remember your ex's Netflix password, you're in survival mode. If you are gripping onto your intentions like you're trying to squeeze water from a rock, you are in survival mode. If your spiritual practice feels like you're taking a test or you're struggling, you're definitely in survival mode, okay? But here's the crazy part. Here is the crazy part. The crazy part is that I spent 3 years reinforcing these patterns every single day, okay? So 1 hour of high quality survival mode meditation. And so what I was doing, I was literally reprogramming my subconscious to stay broke, to stay stressed, to stay anxious, all while thinking I was becoming this abundant, enlightened person. Because you see, when you're in survival mode, your brain releases stress hormones, okay, like cortisol and adrenaline. And that literally shuts down your prefrontal cortex, which is the CEO of your brain, and it activates your limbic system, your emotional reaction center. So we are not in creation mode, we're in protection mode. Now, listen carefully. The breath, our breath, yes, the simple breath we have, is literally the bridge between the finite and the infinite, between personality and presence. So when you shift from survival breathing to coherent breathing, 5 seconds in and 5 seconds out, well, guess what happens? Your physiology changes instantly. And I discovered this the hard way, because one morning I was so stressed about bills that I couldn't even sit still to meditate. My mind was racing, my body was tense, and I felt like I was going to jump out of my skin. So instead of trying to force my meditation, I just focused on breathing coherently for about 10 minutes. That's it. Just breath, nothing else. All right? And something shifted. My shoulders dropped. my chest opened up, my mind got quiet, and for the first time in months, I felt spacious. Like there was room to breathe, room to think, room to be. That's it, room to be. That's when I realized you have to regulate your nervous system first before you could access elevated states. Okay? That is like trying to have a deep conversation at a rock concert. You can't hear the subtle guidance when your system is screaming. You have to turn down the volume. That is why you have to shut off your analytical facilities. Now, I found one of my old journals in 2020, and I want to read you some of this garbage. This is the next mistake. I want to read you some of this garbage, okay? Listen to this. I want to be debt-free. I want to stop being anxious. I want to not worry about my money problems anymore. I want to stop feeling stuck. Oh my God. Every single intention was focused on the absence of something negative. So every single intention was focused on the absence of something negative. Wow. So listen to this. Basically, that is like going to the restaurant and telling the waiter everything you don't want to eat. That's what it's like. Okay? I don't want to eat fish. I don't want to eat pasta. I don't want to eat salad. I'm not a cow. Okay? And the waiter's like, okay, dude. So what do you want? So your subconscious doesn't process negatives. Okay? When you say, I don't want to be broke, so the subconscious doesn't process negatives. When you say, I don't want to be broke, your subconscious hears, okay, broke. Okay? Say less, fam. More broke coming up. And so I was literally manifesting in reverse. 1 hour of high quality focus on debt, right? Focus on debt, anxiety, struggle every single morning. So instead of I want to be debt free, it became I have so much abundance that sharing feels natural. See where I'm going with this? Okay, instead of I don't want to be anxious, it became I am calm, confident, and at peace. But here's the key. You can't just change the words. Okay, you can't just change your words. You have to generate the feeling. And so, Dr. Joe says, your brain can't tell the difference between what's real and what's vividly imagined. But it can tell the difference between thoughts with emotion and thoughts without emotion, right? So abundance for me had to have a specific, had to feel like something specific. Now, this is what abundance feels to me. Abundance to me feels like expansion in my chest, soft shoulders, deep, relaxing breathing, and a sense of ease and flow. Sense of ease and flow. Are you following along? It's like swimming downstream instead of upstream. I had to cultivate that feeling first and then attach my intentions to it. All right? So instead of thinking my way into a new reality, I had to learn to feel my way there. Okay? Feeling first, thinking second. All right? State first, story second. How cool is this? I'm going to stop drawing because it's ugly. Mistake number three is trying to force outcomes. Don't mind the spelling mistakes as well. All right. Now, when I figured out how to breathe and use positive language and focus on my desired reality instead of my problems, I was still making this third mistake. All right. And this almost kept me stuck forever, which was I was trying way too hard. Are you trying way too hard right now? Stop it. Anyway, I used to manifest like I was negotiating with a business tycoon who couldn't speak English. That's what it felt like. I was trying to manifest like I was negotiating with a business tycoon who did not know how to speak English or spoke a different language. So the harder I tried, the more I was signaling to the universe, I don't have this, okay? I need this. Give it to me, please, please, please. I was trying to fall asleep by thinking really hard about sleeping, and the effort creates resistance. Okay. If you're not Asian, you just have to work with me on this one. Okay. This is how Asian parents approach everything, right? More effort equals better results. So study harder, practice longer, try more. That is literally the Asian culture. Well, how I grew up. So I brought that same energy to my manifestation practice. Trying, efforting, must manifest harder. And so I was the tiger bomb of my spiritual practice. However, manifestation doesn't work like math homework. Okay? You cannot force the universe to show its work. Okay? When you're trying to manifest something, you're operating from the assumption that you don't have it. But when you are being the person who already has it, you're operating from a completely different frequency. How cool is that? Now, step number 2 is decide nothing is bigger than you. Nothing is bigger than you, okay? And this is where we get into some advanced identity work that most people never touch. They never touch this advanced identity work. However, there was another mistake that I was making. Mistake number 4 was I was operating from victim consciousness. Are you operating from victim consciousness? Now, let me tell you something. For years, I was approaching manifestation like I was asking permission from the universe. Like I was this small, limited person hoping that maybe if I was good enough, if I was spiritual enough, if I was positive enough, if I did more good deeds, the universe will throw me a bone. And I remember being at this networking event and someone asked me what I did. What do you do? Okay. And I said, well, I'm trying to build a coaching business. That's what I said. I'm trying to build a coaching business, but it's really hard and the market is saturated and I don't have the right connections. And I was basically introducing myself as a victim of circumstances. Literally. How weird is that? Right? But here's what I learned. And stay with me. You created the goal. So how can the goal be bigger than you? Damn. You created the goal. I need to do this. I need to do this. Boom. You created the goal. So how can the goal be bigger than you? Oh my God. Oh my God. You are the one who decided you wanted financial freedom, the relationship, the business. You are the creator of that desire. Okay? So why are you acting? I'm going to write this down. I need you to remember this. Why are you acting like it's some impossible mountain to climb? Ooh, whose buttons am I pressing right now? Why are you acting like it's some impossible mountain to climb? I want to tell you, you are not a victim of your circumstances. Okay, you are not a victim of your circumstances. You are the author of your experience. But most of us are programmed to see ourselves as small, limited, at the mercy of external forces. And so, here's a lesson. Here's a lesson that I learned. Guys, if you are loving this whiteboard, digital whiteboard style, please let me know in the comments, in the comment section, because I like it. Now, here's the lesson. Oh my God, I just don't know how to spell. I need to go back to being an Asian kid in maths class, in English class. No English, no English. The lesson is creator being versus victim consciousness. Ooh, which are you? Which category do you fall under? Now, the shift is from, I hope the universe gives me what I want. Okay, I hope the universe gives me what I want. You got to shift to, I am the universe expressing itself as me. Damn. I am the universe expressing itself as me. Okay. From maybe I'm worthy to I am worthiness itself. Okay. From I need to earn abundance to I am abundance having a temporary experience of scarcity or lack. All right. So practical example. Okay. If I already had $100,000 in my bank account, would I be checking my bank account anxiously every morning? Would I be stressing about a $50 dinner? Would I make decisions from fear or from confidence? So that person, the abundant version, that's not some future fantasy. That's who you actually are underneath all the conditioning. How cool is this? Now, there is another trap though, because I was making another mistake, which was mistake number 5. Am I up to number 5? I am now, which was meditating on outcomes instead of identity. Oh my God, who is making this mistake, right? For years, I was focused on outcomes. I want $50,000 in my bank account. I want a successful business. I want to pay off my debt. I want a lover who can fulfill me and satisfy me and make me happy. And so, I was focusing on outcomes, right? All external things, all future projections. But here's what Dr. Joe told me. He told me that you don't get what you want. You get who you are. Well, you get who you are being, right? So if your identity is the person who struggles with money, well, the universe, the loving mirror that it is going to reflect that to you, mirror that back to you, no matter what. No matter how hard you visualize about wealth, no matter how many vision boards you make, your identity keeps you broke because that's who you think you are. So this shift from that is a line, broke, to, oh, we're dying. from broke to rich. It's from person trying to become abundant to infinite being temporarily experiencing scarcity. That is a completely different starting point. You know where I'm going with this? Instead of meditating on having $50,000, I started embodying the identity of someone who naturally attracts and manages money well. Okay? How does that person sit? How do they breathe? How do they make decisions? How do they show up in the world? And so that is the difference between that is like the difference between wanting to be tall and being tall. Okay? You don't think about being tall, you just move through the world as a tall person. That's it. I wish I was tall, but I'm a bit of a shorty, but that is identity level change. Okay? That's what I mean by that. Now, I was still making another mistake. Me, my mistakes, huh? Mistake number 6 is matter to matter manifestation. Most people try to change their reality by doing 3D actions. Okay, that's what we've been taught, all right? Work harder, hustle more, network better, optimize my strategy. That is like trying to change the TV channel by rearranging the furniture in the room. However, guess what the remote is? Your frequency. Your frequency is the remote. You just literally just change frequencies. That's it. And so this is what I used to do wrong. I used to grind strategies. I used to hustle harder. I used to try to change the 3D external world. And that was completely backwards. I had it completely backwards, okay? Here's the proper order. The proper order of this is field how should I say this? Field first. Another word for field is universe, God, source, whatever. Okay? So, field first, then matter. All right? Frequency first, then action. Okay? Identity first, then results. How cool is that? I'm not saying don't take action and hope for results. No, I want you to embody the frequency and then take inspired action. Simple as that. And then the results will flow naturally. I promise you. Most people have this formula backwards. All right. They go to action first and then frequency last. And then results first and then identity last. No wonder. And so the next step in all of this, step number 3 is move as the version already there. Now, this is where we get into the advanced stuff on how to actually embody your infinite nature into daily life. However, I was making a mistake. The mistake that I was making is visualizing without embodying. I could visualize a Ferrari in 4K HD with surround sound and director's commentary. Let's just say that. I could see myself in the car. I could smell the leather. I could feel the steering wheel, but I'm breathing like a stressed out raccoon, okay? And so most people think manifestation is about creating vivid mental movies. However, like I said, if your nervous system is in survival mode, then you're sending mixed signals, okay? If your nervous system is in survival mode and you are visualizing, you are sending mixed signals to the universe, okay? That is like trying to text someone, I love you, while your energy is screaming, I'm desperate and I'm needy. I've done that before and it didn't go well, okay? Now here's the lesson. Write this down, embodiment over visualization. Embodiment means, okay, I'm gonna write that for you. Embodiment means, how would your infinite self sit right now? Okay? How would they breathe? How would they respond to the email from your boss? How would they handle an unexpected bill? How would they talk to their partner or their loved one? Okay? You attach your intentions to that elevated state, not to your stressed out personality. Now, when I learned to embody abundance before visualizing it, everything changed. Embody abundance before visualizing it, okay? Instead of trying to imagine having money, I would first get into a state of being someone from someone who is peaceful, because to me, abundance means peace. Okay, abundance to me means peace, security, and safety, okay? Then from that state, I would set intentions. Simple as that. That is like the difference between acting in a movie and being the character. Okay, when you're acting, you are pretending. But when you are being, you are expressing. During my identity frequency mapping activations, 2 things happen. Your nervous system shifts from high beta survival waves to coherent states. That is one thing that happens. You shift into coherent states rapidly. El rapido. Number two, your brain literally begins reorganizing to, oh my God, look at the spelling, to accommodate your infinite nature. Meaning new neural pathways are formed. Okay? Old patterns weaken, new neural pathways are forming. And so this isn't woo-woo, but it's neuroscience. It's basically neuroscience. And I remember the first time I felt this happening. I was in meditation and suddenly it felt like my brain was rewiring itself and it felt like electricity having its way, making love to my brain. And I can feel new connections forming in real time. That's what literally it felt like. Old patterns dissolving, it was like upgrading from dial-up to fiber optic. And then these tingles, electric tingles was happening in my brain. And it was awesome. I would love for you to experience this. Because when you consistently choose your elevated response over your automatic react, I'm gonna write this down. This is a good point. This is literally the work. When you consistently, that's the word, consistently choose your elevated response over automatic reaction, what happens when you do this? Well, you are literally rewiring your brain in real time. Wow. You're rewiring your brain in real time and you're proving to yourself that you are no longer the person you used to be. So every decision, every moment, you have an opportunity to either choose to come from your elevated response or an automatic reaction. Damn. Right? Let me know in the comments below if you are reacting still or responding, okay? And let me tell you, about a month into this work, I noticed something weird. My content engagement in my content increased by 47% without even changing my strategy. People were responding to me differently, like they could feel the shift through the screen, okay? Because when your internal state stabilizes, your electromagnetic signature, the energetic you that is broadcasting, that changes. And the HeartMath Institute has measured this as well. Your heart generates an electromagnetic field that extends several feet beyond our body, okay? Listen to this and pay attention to this. People can feel your frequency before you even speak. People can feel your frequency before you even speak. People can feel your frequency before you even speak. Now, when you are operating from your infinite nature, you are broadcasting a completely different signal. A powerful signal. The world literally mirrors back your new frequency. However, here's where most people mess up, okay? They mess up from this beautiful thing called surrender. They get into this elevated state, they feel the expansion, then they try to micromanage how their transformation or manifestation is gonna show up, okay? They start asking, how is it gonna happen? When is it gonna happen? Oh my God, what if it doesn't work, okay? That's your personality trying to control the infinite. That is your personality trying to control the infinite when you ask how, when, and what if. Okay? A negative what if. Negative what if. Okay? Now, surrender means establish the state, hold the feeling, feel there, then follow the next obvious action. Now, listen to this. Without attachment to timeline or outcome. Okay? I don't know if you guys have seen Abhinav's story, but he was attached to a specific timeline. I need this done by last Wednesday. Okay? When he released timeline or outcomes, he manifested 300K in the most easiest and perfect way. Right? Surrender. Just surrender. 3 weeks after my breakthrough, I was at the airport. My flight got cancelled and plans was disrupted. Now, normally stressed out Kevin would come out and be like, what the hell? I'm a victim, straight up victim, okay? But I stayed in coherence by deep breathing, and instead of freaking out, I just stayed present, right? And let me tell you, within an hour, I was rebooked on a better flight. I was upgraded to business class, and that's what happens when you maintain your frequency regardless of external circumstances, okay? The universe literally rearranges itself to match your internal state. That is why elevated response over automatic reaction. That's what I did at the airport. I responded in an elevated state instead of automatically reacting. Okay, you know what? I'm going to confess something. I automatically reacted for a brief bit, maybe like 5 minutes, but I'm only human, okay? And that's just going to be the reality of things. It just depends on how long you want to react. Now, listen carefully. Most people visualize their future self. But when you embody your infinite self right now, you are not projecting into the future. You are collapsing time. Okay? You're accessing the infinite field of infinite possibilities in this moment. Instead of saying someday I'll be abundant, it becomes I am abundance itself, having a temporary experience of limitation. That's it. Instead of say I'm trying to attract a soulmate, it becomes I am love itself and love recognizes itself. Okay? So, this is what I do with my clients. You get a sneak peek. Now check this out. This is what I do with my clients. Okay? So in my session with my clients, they consistently report the same phenomena, which is a sense of spaciousness and warmth across the chest, tingling in the hands, and rapid synchronicities. Wow. All right. That is what they experience. Now, this is not placebo. This is frequency alignment. Now, Abhinav was expecting funds from his Provident Fund department, which has been pending from years because he was in the army. Now, after working together, he not only received the unexpected amount, but an additional $150,000. Okay, so that was 2x of what he was basically supposed to receive, and so he wasn't expecting that. And he wrote to me that I feel relaxed and assured, and he created a financial plan for the amount received. Now, another client, Ashley, her testimonial is going to be out very, very soon, but she had an instantaneous healing, okay, after working up about a week together. So she had kind of like gut issues. We weren't even focusing on healing. We were focusing on abundance, right? So her testimonial will be out soon. Now, this isn't luck. This is what happens when you operate from your infinite nature instead of your limited personality. And so the field responds to frequency, not effort. Whew. Get that tattooed on you. The field responds to frequency, not effort. Oh my God. How many people are putting in so much effort? Not just in their life, but in their manifestations as well. So here's the thing, and I want to be straight with you. You can half commit and continue getting yo-yo results, or you can go all in and let the universe see some hustle. Let's just say that. You can go all in and let the universe do all the hustling. There is no middle ground here, okay? Now, how do you commit to this? How do you become this infinite nature in a moment-to-moment basis in your daily life? Well, not just when you feel like it, not just when it's convenient, but every single day. Because let me tell you, when you are reminded of your infinite nature, your old patterns are going to fight for their survival, right? I want you to imagine 6 weeks from now, your nervous system is quiet. Money flows to you naturally without stress or struggle. Your relationships are warm and easy. Your opportunities appearing without forcing things. And you wake up feeling grateful for life instead of being anxious about it as well. Not because you learned a new technique, not because you got lucky, but because you remembered who you truly are. You remembered who you truly are and started living from that place. Okay? That is not fantasy, but that's what happens when you embody that infinite nature. Because the field responds to commitment. What do I mean by that? When you decide, and I mean really decide right now, you can do it right now, that you are done being reasonable about your limitations, that you are done being a victim, everything shifts. Everything shifts. Okay? But you have to mean it. You can't half-ass being infinite. Okay? Let me tell you. Let me ask you and type this out. What is it going to be for you? Okay? Are you going to keep polishing your cage, your prison? Or are you going to remember? Are you ready to remember your infinite nature? Who you truly are beneath the stories, the interference, the lies that you have believed about yourself. Because let me tell you, here's why most people lose their transformation. Why do people lose their transformation? After they leave a retreat or finish a course or, I don't know, get some work done on them, like energetically or whatever. It's because they don't have an integration system. Your environment, your old friends, your familiar patterns, they are all designed to pull you back into your old frequency. Because the universe likes energetic equilibrium. It's easier to keep energetic equilibrium than to change frequently. Okay? Now, write this down because there are 3 pillars to integration. Now, pillar number 1 is environmental design. See, this is why I'm not a doctor, because I can't even spell. Anyway, it doesn't even have to do anything with being a doctor. So, environmental design, put visual cues everywhere that remind you of your infinite nature, okay? Change the wallpaper on your phone, choose something that represents your expanded state, put sticky notes in your bathroom mirror, and say, I'm the field, okay? That's a cool sticky note. That's number one. Make your environment benefit you. Pillar number two is man, why do I keep coming out of caps lock? Micro practices, okay? 30 seconds of coherent breathing before checking an email. 3 conscious breaths before walking into any building. If you are about to get on a Zoom call, 5 minutes of deep breathing just to get yourself relaxed. Quality over quantity, okay? 1 moment of pure presence beats an hour of distracted meditation, okay? I'm gonna write that down because that is so good. 1 moment of true presence beats an hour of distracted meditation. Damn! How many of us are meditating distracted? Can't shut off the analytical mind. I know I used to. I know my clients used to. Pillar number 3 is community accountability, okay? You need people to reflect your infinite nature back to you, not your old limitations. And so if you find a tribe that is either online or offline, people doing this work, amazing. Just try to minimize going back to your old tribe of people trying to pull you back into your old frequency. Because let me tell you, when you operate from this infinite nature, you stop asking how and when. Those questions keep you bound in linear time, okay? Your infinite in nature exists beyond time. That is why manifestation is instant, because it exists beyond time. It accesses what it needs when it needs. So let's do a recap. How cool was this? Did you enjoy this lesson? Because if you did, let me know in the comments below. Okay, let's recap. Step 1, let go of old story. Thank your personality. Thank your old personality. Hey, old Kevin, thank you. But it's time for me to stop being a victim. It's time for me to remember my infinite nature. And I'm leaving behind victim mentality once and for all. So, see ya. By the way, use your breath to bridge your known self and the infinite. Step 2 is decide nothing is bigger than you. Man, this is my favorite step. Seriously. Nothing is bigger than you. Okay? You're not trying to become abundant. You are remembering that you are abundant beneath all of the lies. Okay? And if you're putting a number, a fucking number above you, come on, something's up. Something's up. No number should be above you. You're more than that. Step 3 is move as the version already there. Okay? Embody first, but reality follows. Surrender the how and when. Simple. So identity frequency mapping isn't another technique to add to your collection, but it's about recognizing that you were never broken, you were never lacking, you were never separate from what you want to try to create. You're just remembering what you temporarily forgot. It's amazing. It's awesome. And if you want my complete identity frequency mapping system, the activations, the integration protocols, the personal guidance on a specific block, then check out the links below in the description. Okay? And I promise you, you are just one meditation or activation away from a new life, not years away. Okay? You don't have to heal anymore. You don't have to become worthy. You don't have to change or anything like that. And please stop being reasonable about your limitations. Stop being delightfully delusional about your infinite nature, because you are the field experiencing itself as you. Now go and remember who you really are.
Okay, so I did what you said. So I'm sending this voice now because I did what you said. And I wrote it down. I said it out loud. I breathed it in. I did my meditation, and it felt like everything it should have felt like. It felt safe. It felt easy. I really felt like I was releasing. And it's funny, like as soon as I got your voice memo yesterday, saying like, oh, you're only one meditation away. Like I just knew it too. Like I was like, I think my next meditation is going to be really fucking awesome. Anyway, so I did the whole generous present moment meditation, and I won't get into the details of everything that like kind of went on in my consciousness when that was happening, but it was a lot of just like, it was all very easy and fun and relaxing and releasing and calming, and like visions of myself in the past and visions and big ideas for the future. And just, yeah, I was like, yeah, I think no, I don't think, I know I did exactly what I needed to do. Anyway, fast forward to like an hour later, I'm on my way to the gym. I'm feeling really good. And I start getting these like anxiety, like it was like some things were poking me, like poking me, really testing me about money and life and if things can really change. And I like started to kind of tense up about it. And then, you know what? I said, you know what? I surrender. Sure. Whatever this anxiety is, whatever this energy coming at me right now, give me your worst. Go for it. And like I just, started hearing all this stuff about like you're never gonna make money, you're never gonna like figure out a job, you think this is how you're gonna get out of it, like all of that stuff. And I just kind of let all of that come at me, but like was able to look at it and not react. Like just kind of like, okay, you is that all you got? Are you done now? Do you have more? And I felt like whatever this like energy coming at me, it kept getting like meaner and meaner. Like it started saying like really big things like, oh yeah, well cosmically someone just fucked up, so you're just unlucky, and like all these like, fears that I've talked to you about before that I had. And at one point it almost got to me. Like I almost started just like falling into the anxiety, but then I stopped again and I said, no, keep going. Like keep yelling. And I just imagined like all of these things like all screaming in my face at the same time until they just got so tired they like fizzled out and just like dissolved and went away. It was really cool. And this was like all in the car on the way to the gym. And I was like, cool, I took care of that. And then so anyway, I came home after the gym. I started getting ready I got to tape the audition that I was telling you about yesterday for the TV show. So I'm getting ready for that. I'm learning those lines. It's one line. I learned that line. And then I was learning some lines for a workshop that I signed up for this weekend. And in the process of that, I get a notification that I have another audition for a commercial, but it's a voiceover. So would just be like my voice, which I like don't know who's submitting me to that. I don't know if it's my commercial agent. I didn't submit myself for that, but it pays a good amount. So I'm like, awesome. And then as I'm like reading through the specs of that, I get a phone call and I think it's spam. So I let it go to voicemail. And then I open the voicemail and it's a casting director or someone from a casting office in San Francisco who says they need a stand-in for a lead actress for a movie that's shooting there next week. And it's a pretty well-known actress. And they're like, you match the specs. And if you don't know what stand-in work is, I won't actually be acting. It basically will be like shadowing the lead actress. And when she has to go off and like, get ready, do her prep, hair, makeup, whatever, but they still need to like set the lighting and scenes. They have me like stand at her place and like do her actions. And so it's definitely not what I'm aiming for ultimately, but it's still a pretty great opportunity to like get on a set and be around those people. And like literally my job will be to embody this famous actress. So I'm called them back and they told me they sent my stuff to production. They're just waiting for them to confirm. So they should know within the next couple of days. But yeah, that all happened just today. And I feel like it's not done yet. So I'll keep you posted.